In today's video, I'm going to be covering a topic that has not been discussed in quite some time, and that is seller concessions. Did you know that the market has turned here in the Tampa Bay area? And while you may not have been able to ask for seller concessions in the past, you now can do that. So today I'm going to go into what that means and what exactly you can ask for and how that's going to benefit you as a buyer when you're looking to buy a home here in the Tampa Bay area. Hi everybody, thanks for tuning into my channel Living in Tampa, where it's my goal to show you everything you need to know about eating, sleeping, playing, and living in the greater Tampa Bay area. If it's your first time to my channel, do me a big favor, hit that subscribe button, ring the little bell so you'll be notified every time that I release a new video. In today's video, we are going to talk seller concessions. What does that even mean? Let's get into it. So seller concessions, that is the topic today. Yes, what exactly do seller concessions mean? I mean, that kind of is a word that gets thrown around a lot. So I just wanted to make sure that people that are out there, sometimes the jargon that we use in real estate, we take for granted that everyone knows what we're talking about. So what does a seller concession even mean? Well, basically, it means the seller is paying for something on your behalf. So you can ask for some seller concession for so many different things. And today we're going to go into a few of those and how they might benefit you. And the reason I'm doing this video now at this time, right now it is December of 2022. Wow, December. Christmas is right around the corner. This time last year, houses were flying off the shelf. You had to be paying cash and had to be paying way over list price to even be considered in the offer process that when a seller was listing their home for sale. This year, wow, the tables have turned considerably. Homes are on the market for a longer period of time. Prices are getting a little bit stagnant. We are seeing some price drops, in fact. And it is definitely a lot easier to buy. And when that happens, that's when seller concessions come back into play, when you can ask the seller to pay for certain things on your behalf. Now, I had a buyer that I was working with just last month. They were very, very tight on their cash for closing. So if you're not aware, whenever you are buying a home, you need your down payment, you also need your closing costs. So that's going to add up to a significant sum of money. And a lot of times buyers just don't have a whole lot of money on hand. So this particular buyer, since the market had turned and the house they were looking at had been on the market for a couple of months, we were able to ask for that seller concession to help with that cash that was needed for closing. So that's just one of the many benefits of asking for a seller concession. Today we're going to go into the different things that you can ask for and how they would benefit you and what might be the best thing for you to ask for in your situation. So again, the tide has really turned as far as sellers being in the driver's seat. Buyers are a little bit more in the driver's seat this year. I should say this half of 2022 as compared to this time last year. And I think that's going to continue for this foreseeable future here into 2023, unless maybe those interest rates start coming down a bit. But right now, we are kind of in a stagnant market. Homes are sitting. There is opportunity for you as a buyer. Now is a great time to buy a home. Even though the interest rates are a little bit high, you can always refinance later. Right now, there are a lot of motivated sellers that need to get their homes sold, so you can get a great price and you can get these seller concessions that we're going to be discussing today. So the first thing that I want to talk about is a seller concession is allowing contingencies. So this time last year, if you had a home to sell and you needed your purchase to be contingent on that home selling before you could buy your next home, that was not going to happen. The sellers were like, no, I have so many offers, I'm not even going to consider a contingent offer. So that is no longer happening for the most part. Now, there are some little pockets of areas where homes are still very desirable and selling very quickly, or if a home is particularly very nice, very priced correctly and all of that, then you might not be able to get this concession. But for the most part, I would say 9 out of 10 sellers are going to say yes when you ask them to accept a home sale contingency. And that is sort of a concession compared to how things were last year. Also, appraisal. You can get a seller to accept an appraisal contingency now, whereas last year you had no rights with the appraisal. In fact, most buyers were paying way over the appraised price. So the updated statistics on this right now, the latest that I was able to find, is that 41% of sellers are accepting some type of contingency on their offers. 67% of sellers are now accepting some sort of repair negotiation. Again, this was another thing that was not happening last year. And 32% of sellers are agreeing to pay some closing costs. So let's go into that. The first concession that I'm bringing up that we just discussed was the seller's willingness to accept some sort of contingency, whether that being you having a home to sell, you wanting it to be contingent on your appraisal, your financing, all of that. The seller is now willing to accept all of those contingencies for the most part. The other thing that you can ask for is repairs. So the way that our contracts work here in Tampa is 99% of our contracts are the as-is contract. That's kind of our standard contract here. What that means is you are agreeing to purchase the home as is, but you do have a period of time in which you can do an inspection. This time period is negotiated. It's going to be typically about a week to 10 days. During the crazy market, that negotiation was gone as well. I will tell you, a lot of sellers were not accepting any type of inspection period, or they wanted it to be super short so that you did not have that ability to back out of the transaction. Well, now you are getting that time back to, have an inspector come out, look at the house, and you have the ability to go back to the seller and say, hey, I wasn't expecting this house to need a roof replaced. You're going to need to give me a discount on this, or you're going to need to pay for this repair. Hey, the AC isn't working correctly. I want you to fix that before I'm going to move forward with this contract. And guess what? Like I said, 67% of sellers are now willing to do that. So that would be the number two thing that I would ask for as a seller concession for my buyer, is some sort of repair agreement. Now, another one that's going to help out, as the example that I just gave a little while ago, is going to be a seller concession towards the closing costs. Now, in most cases, the seller is able to contribute a certain amount of money towards your closing costs. It will be dependent on what type of loan you are doing, how much the seller is able to contribute. In some cases, that is going to be capped by the lender, how much they are allowed to contribute. But I would say in most cases, you're going to be pretty safe asking for 3% of the purchase price or 4% of the purchase price for the seller to be giving you that as a concession towards your closing costs. And that's going to help you a lot. I mean, if you're looking at a $400,000 house, we're talking in the neighborhood of, $12,000, $16,000, depending what you're able to get them to agree to. That's less money you've got to bring to closing. That frees up that much more money for you so that you are able to maybe pay for your movers, or, pay for some new furniture, different things that you might want to do to the house, things like that. Sellers are more likely to agree to this concession now than they were this time last year. And the last one that I want to cover today is probably the most important, in my opinion. If you haven't heard, interest rates are through the roof. So they are higher than they've been in a long, long time, and it's giving a lot of buyers shell shock, pulling a lot of buyers out of the market. But there is a way that you can still get your interest rate down, and it does involve a seller concession. A lot of lenders are now starting to offer this rate buy down program, and basically the seller contributes a certain amount of money towards the buyer's points to buy down the interest rate of the loan. So it helps to bring the interest rate of the loan down. In some cases, it can be a whole percentage point. Other cases, it might be 2 percentage points for the first year and then 1 percentage point the next year. There's lots of different programs out there, but it is something that has to be paid for by the seller. Now, I do want to stress that this is not a situation where you're going to be able to get money back from the seller. This is strictly for you to be able to get your interest rate lowered, which lowers your payment significantly, and it's going to help you out a lot more than any other type of concession. So if you were to get them to bring the house price down by $10,000, that's not going to make that big of a difference in your payment. But if they use that same $10,000 to buy your rate down, it's going to be much more impactful on your monthly payment. So this is a huge one and something that I've been doing for a lot of buyers to get their payments more affordable, and it's been working out really great. So if this is something that you're interested in, then go ahead and give me a call so we can discuss it. Well, there you have it. Those are like the main 4 concessions that I would say we want to ask a seller for. There's so many different things that you can ask for. You can ask for furniture if there's certain, items that you really like in the home. You can ask for them to cover a variety of different things, but the 4 basic ones that we covered today are going to be the most important for you. And again, just a quick recap of those 4 things that you can ask a seller for is 1, to accept a contingency, 2, to agree to negotiate some type of repairs, 3, to contribute to your closing costs, and 4, and most importantly, in my opinion, is to buy down the rate on your interest rate for your loan. So I hope that you found this video useful. If you are considering buying a home in the greater Tampa Bay area, listen, I really love it when people reach out to me. It's one of my passions, is to help people find the area in Tampa that's best for them based on their particular situation. Don't hesitate to give me a call, send me a text, shoot me an email. Whichever method of communication you prefer is fine with me. When it comes to moving to Tampa, I've got your back and I'm always available. My number is down below. If you could also please hit that subscribe button. It helps me out so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.